are the opportunities? Where are the opportunities for this company? What do you think? Anybody? Somebody? No? Don't want to make eye contact? Okay, go ahead. Next. All right, go ahead, Luis.
The bottlers and the food brokers and the trade or whatever, and the company sales representatives and retailers, they have confidence in the brand, future growth of the brand. So if they were, to want to send the brand, the retailers and bottlers, they'll be there to support it. So that's a big opportunity.
So their trade partners, including retailers and Luis mentioned food brokers, believe in the brand and they think that there is an opportunity to grow the business. So that's an opportunity for our organization, that this situation exists. We need to leverage it. So at this point, we're not maximizing that situation. So for us, that's an opportunity. We need to take advantage of that.
Hawaiian Punch, they market mostly towards kids, and kids, they love the Capri Sun pouches, because it's like fun, it's in cases, after you're done with it, you get to squeeze it. So why doesn't Hawaiian Punch market more of the pouches brand? And I know it's like wholesalers like Costco and Walmart, they sell pouches in big cases. So if Hawaiian Punch was to market more pouches, they would be able to sell to Walmart and Costco, and then they would be able to sell to the consumer, and sales would be incremental.
So you're saying change the packaging,
Yeah.
right?
Apparently, from whatever, they do have pouches, but they don't market it as much.
So an opportunity for them is to start pushing this packaging, right? So traditionally, the product is sold in a small bottle, and some of them are 8-ounce bottles, some of them are 12-ounce bottles, but there's an opportunity to sell them in small pouches, and that could help them increase and get incremental sales in certain channels, like in wholesale clubs, where they currently sell competitors' products, and they sell that product in that packaging form.
Another opportunity is to eliminate some of the flavors that are not selling, to make room for other flavors that appeals to better target market.
So what we need to do is skew rationalization. This is an interesting analysis. One day you'll get to do this. Very often what you'll find, in analyzing product lines, very often I've also found in my career that approximately 80% of a company's sales come from approximately 20% of the products. Think about that. So another way we could say that is that 20% of the products generate 80% of the sales. So if 20% of the products generate 80% of the sales, why are we carrying those other 80%? So they're not selling. So you need to go through the SKU rationalization process and look through and see, what are your best selling items? What products, and rank them. So then at the bottom of the list, you have products that aren't selling well. So why are they part of our portfolio? Why are we producing them? We need to be more focused. So if those flavors aren't selling well, then we should find out what flavors, we should do the research and find out what flavors are going to sell. What are the flavors that consumers do want? What are the flavors that have the highest level of purchase intent? So remember, importantly, when we're doing the research, we want to not only ask what flavors you like, but what flavors of Hawaiian Punch would you purchase? Because they could like it, that doesn't mean they would purchase it. Be careful, right? So when we do research, we got to make sure we're asking the right questions so we can make the best decision. So when we ask them what flavors you like, they might be very quick to say any number of flavors. But then if we ask them, well, what flavor would you purchase? They might still say, you know what, I like that and that's interesting and so on, but at the end of the day, I would still purchase the original flavor. And then you're like, wow. That's why you see, that's when you realize how powerful research can be. But you got to ask the right questions though. So purchase intent is something that's important. We need to make sure we're asking about their willingness to purchase those flavors.
There could also opportunities like from what was mentioned, packaging. You could target like anything with kids because kids are attracted to pretty things. And if parents trust you, if you try to target towards kids and try to like package it a certain way, segment towards like the smallest size, and then your size will probably spread out as well.
What about since soda has it's very high in popularity, why not then Hawaiian Punch have a carbonated version of their juice in order to compete in the soda section?
So a brand extension.
Yeah.
So I would argue that that's a brand extension because I would see, based on what we had illustrated just a moment ago, I would argue that that's a new category. Sure, it's part of the beverage category, but I would argue that the soda category is, and what Janelle suggested as being carbonated, a carbonated beverage, is it would be extending the brand into a new category. So that would be a brand extension. Hawaiian Punch Cola. So Hawaiian Punch Soda.
Well, actually, isn't the water and the sports drinks like have the higher demand in the market share? So why not position it in like a water flavor type of?
So you want to have Hawaiian Punch branded water?
Yeah, because that's what's taking more of the market share. Well, from the case.
Soda is soda.
So those are all opportunities. So what you're saying is, remember we had all those segments up on the board. Some are bigger than others, but Janelle is saying that she would focus in extending the brand into the soda segment. And Connie is saying she would consider extending the Hawaiian Punch brand into the water segment. So we would have Hawaiian Punch branded water. So not just Aquafina, not just Poland Spring, but Hawaiian Punch. That's also part of that brand elasticity, because when we talk about brand elasticity, how far you can stretch your brand, it doesn't just apply to price. Price is not the only factor. You have to consider how relevant your brand is going to be in that category. So we need to find out, we need to do brand elasticity research to find out how strong that association is to fruit punch. How strong the Hawaiian Punch brand is linked to fruit punch. Or could they extend it? Could they, okay, so there's an opportunity that we need to explore. Could they introduce a line of Hawaiian Punch soda or Hawaiian Punch branded water? Something we would need to look at.
Wouldn't like soda kind of hurt them in a way because soda's not considered very healthy wise, and Hawaiian Punch used to make a fruit drink a little bit more healthier than soda. Wouldn't actually hurt their brand in general?
So it could be any one of those direct or indirect competitors, depending on how we're going to classify them, could have some shortcomings that we would otherwise want to highlight. So you might want to argue that soda has a greater amount of sugar than Hawaiian Punch. but that doesn't mean that they wouldn't introduce a line of soda.
What about Kool-Aid?
So what about Kool-Aid?
I think that would be an interesting market to enter into. The Hawaiian punch flavor, you can mix it yourself with water.
Okay, so change the product form.
I mean, you could just do like a,
I mean, they
this
do.
would be a brand extension.
They do.
They do have
They do
Kool-Aid.
have powder, just
Yeah.
like Kool-Aid.
They have powdered Hawaiian punch?
Yeah, you put it in
But
water.
that's, this is not how Hawaii Punch started out as powder and then they weren't selling as well. So they kind of like,
No, there's the new one, the singles.
No, they, yeah,
Like-
yeah,
like the,
Kool-Aid had those those-
So depending on what point in their company's history we focus, what Kaya is suggesting is an interesting point, is that you could change the product form. So whether they have that today or they had it at time of the case is a separate issue, but certainly that could be something that's very compelling. So change the product form into a powder form, from liquid to a powder form that you would add water. That could be very compelling. Introducing new flavors, line extensions, brand extensions into new categories.
I mean, I think that they should do a little more advertising because of all the flavors, the most popular one is the red fruit punch that I think pretty much most people know. Because some of the flavors, like, they sound delicious, but you don't know what they taste like. You've actually seen an advertising where they actually use those flavors.
So more of a pull strategy for those other flavors. So they know that those flavors exist, but what about the consumers? The consumers understand that those flavors exist? Are they aware of those flavors?
You see them, but would you
Yeah,
try
you see them on
them?
the
But
shelf,
would you try
you
them?
don't really truly know that they are Hawaiian punch because you know the red one. You don't really know like some pinkish, like mango flavor, woody.
So you're saying, so in that case, you're describing the fact that they were able to get distribution. So their push strategy worked. They were able to get distribution for some of those flavors, other than the original. But you think that maybe they need to focus on the consumer to build awareness of those flavors and to increase the desire to purchase those particular flavors. Because some of them are already at retail, it's just that they're not purchasing them. So, yeah, that sounds like something that we could address through advertising. Maybe through some promotions, a BOGO, buy one, get one. Maybe that's gonna help.
Put them on sale, yeah.
Yeah.
So these flavors are on sale. So people tend to like things that are on sale.
Yeah, so
Free
they get a
samples?
chance to
Yeah.
What about give some free samples too?
Yeah.
Especially if you include them in packages that we sell to kids, you put them together, you buy one, you get two for price.
So sell a mixed assortment. So then they're forced to try those other flavors. Do you agree? You do?
Yeah.
Great. Okay. What else?
So more health conscious parents, they should market more the Hawaiian Punch Fruit Light
Yeah.
flavor, because that's 60% less sugar. So they should market it more and reserve more shelf space for it.
So focus on health conscious, right? Promote that.